Well, just arrived, day one, 10-day solo trip into Temagami, and really looking forward to it. I have Hunter with me, and in order to do this solo trip, I decided to buy a pack canoe from Swift, and so let's get started. He didn't even eat his meal, but I caught a pretty big bass, and Hunter decided to go crazy on it, and before I could even get out of the water, he jumped in the water, bit it like 5 times. I couldn't get him off. Well, I got him off 5 or 6 times, and then he went ahead and kept going back and biting it as much as he could. So I had to dispatch it, and then we had it for dinner. So there's going to be a nice sunset today. Look how calm it is. Wow. And this is just straight up the hill. Ugh. My knees really starting to bug me today, and I only did 2 portages. I don't know if I can, what'll happen when I get to the trout streams, but since it's such an aggressive portaging, very technical portaging, I guess my bad news is that on the first night I was arriving late, 7:30. I rolled into a camp, and it was getting dark, and I was rushing a little bit, and the entrance was on a steep, on a rock face. So on the rock face, I got out and checked out the campsite, came back to get my stuff, and in my rush I had just slipped my phone into my pocket, and then I went back to get my stuff out of the canoe, and the rock face was just kind of slippery, slidey rock, and I just went sliding right into the lake, and the phone was in my pocket, and it got wet, and I immediately took it out and threw it in the canoe, but I can't film. And then I went back to the car the next morning, because I was just, half an hour paddle away from it, and I had my work phone, so this is my work phone, and so I'm filming on that. So I'm not filming as much because I definitely don't want to get my work phone wet, and it's too big to fit in my waterproof camera bag, so it's a bigger phone, so it doesn't fit, so I can't really film except when I'm at somewhere safe, which I guess is at my campsite. Anyway, that's really unfortunate. And well, I made it down to Frank Falls, which is right behind me there, about 1.5 kilometers, and I searched for campsites for about 2 hours and couldn't find something that was half decent. So this is a site that Nathan and I stopped at just to have lunch one day before we made it down to the trout streams. And I had paddled down earlier to Frank Falls because there's 2 campsites down there, but they have no place to put a tent at all. It's a very rocky, beautiful campsite from that perspective, and there's a big kind of mountain in the back there, across the channel. So this is the entry point, and there's a pack canoe. It is fantastic as long as the wind's not behind me. If the wind's facing me, coming straight at me, then it goes straight, and I feel that it's fairly effortless. One direction. The direction I don't want to go. Anyway. And my Scotty fishing attachment is working great for trolling. So anyway, so I decided to set up a tarp and get ready for the rain. So I wasn't sure I could do it here, but it seemed like the only viable place. So I've got it tied off to a bunch of rocks and trees and stuff. And this is a bit of a fisherman's camp, it appears. So they've got quite a bit of wood that they back there you can see a big tree that had fallen, and I guess they had cut it up. So Hunter's favorite chair, my chair. Oh, a chair is so important after a long day to be able to sit in a chair rather than a log or something. And there's his bed, which he's using very well. I decided to bring him a bed, cheap little thin, very, very light, but at least he can cuddle up in the night and keep warm and stuff. And I've actually been using a pot hanger more this year than any year. I used to use a grill, but pot hanger works fantastic. So for me to put any pegs in, so I'm just using these rocks, and they're working very well. I got one peg in there in the front, but it was pretty far away, so. And there's a little lagoon back here. This is the only campsite so far that I've had any bugs of any sort flying around. So when I arrived here, they were flying around pretty good, but I don't know, in the last hour or something, they've pretty much dissipated. Not too sure why. Anyway, this was the kind of mountain that I was talking about. It's pretty high. This area is beautiful. The stuff I was paddling past today was just gorgeous. So very nice to paddle through. I bunged up my leg on yesterday doing a portage. My knee, my bad knee, that always gives me some trouble, but that means I can barely walk. So I'm just limping along. I did a 500 portage today, and I had to triple carry, which I've never done before. And it just wasn't fun. I was just limping along. I actually made a cane for myself. So, which helped actually. So, you know, anyway, there's absolutely no way that I can do the trout streams. It's too technical and too difficult of a portage route. I would be stupid to do it. So I'm going to rest it for a few days. I'm gonna turn back. I'm gonna go up through. Right now I'm on Willow, so I'm gonna go up through Sucker Gut, all the way around and up all the way to Sucker Gut, and then that joins in with Lady Evelyn, and then all the way down the whole distance of Lady Evelyn to Diamond, and then through Owabika to the car, which will take me exactly the way I figure it. It'll take me exactly until Sunday when I was planning on leaving. So it's a lot of paddling, but it's the only way I can go right now. So I'll still enjoy myself. I'll just be sitting in a canoe rather than going and looking at a bunch of beautiful waterfalls and trying to challenge myself with the really challenging portages. So beautiful country in there, but I just can't, unfortunately. So I'm gonna have to take a pass and do it another year. Anyway, good morning. Day 5 is here, and this was the day it was going to rain quite a bit, maybe, in the forecast. Anyway, this wasn't what I I woke up 6:30 now. Can't see beyond your front nose here. That little lagoon looks nice, eh? I love the fog in the morning. But usually it's more misty. This is just straight out fog. We'll see if it lifts in a bit. The silence of the morning. So now it's 8:30. So in a couple hours, it took to change. The fog just lifted 15 minutes ago. Still a chilly morning. And the geese are over there. Well, I think I'll get going. Have my breakfast and get packed up. Let's see what happens with the rain. Well, I left in the thought that maybe it wouldn't rain today, but started out good. I left at 10 o'clock, and it was a really beautiful paddle through Sucker Gut Lake, and then it would rain for a few minutes, and then it would, or it came down pretty hard a few times, and then it would stop for half an hour, and then it would start again, and then so I got a little bit wet, but it doesn't matter. It was a beautiful paddle, actually. And then once I got onto Lady Evelyn, turned the bend onto Lady Evelyn, it just started coming down, and the clouds looked bad for a long ways out. So I found this first campsite, and I'm a little cold, chilled from the rain, and it's a cooler day. So this is what the clouds have looked like most of the day, and I don't think there's an end in sight. Hope you can hear me. It's a little bit windy. But here's the site I found, and
little windier on top there, but it is, I guess they've built a few little shelves and things, tables. So when I got here, yeah, it was raining pretty hard at the time, or very hard actually. So I just needed to pull in. Fortunately, this one was available, so I got a fly up and decided to put it over the fire to I don't know how long it's going to rain, so it might rain for another few hours. So just put a nice lean-to there to let me sit under, and Hunter, he's shivering and cold, so I just took off his life jacket, so that sometimes the life jacket keeps him warmer. You know, a life jacket helps to keep you quite warm, but I decided to take it off now so he can dry out underneath.
Well, I got changed a couple minutes ago. Hung on my clothes to dry. I think they're already dry. They're getting the wind treatment. Which is good. Too bad my fire isn't going. Anyway, the wood's too wet. And my coal bank isn't popping up because I don't have enough wood to just pile onto it. I don't know if this tarp's gonna rip, but we'll see. Hopefully not. I made it a bunch of years ago and it lasted pretty well, so. Anyway, I'm a little warmer. Got 3 more layers on and changed my pants to some dry ones. I brought 2 pair of pants, so hopefully this second pair doesn't get wet. But then again, these ones are probably going to dry quickly. They're very lightweight and dry in 2 seconds, even when I'm wearing them. The calm after the storm. So at 3 o'clock I said I'd go set up the tent. So just as I started setting up the tent, it started pouring pretty good. And so in my rush, I forgot to put all of the wood under the tarp. So it got wet again. What a drag. Well, I guess I better start a fire and see if I can get it going again. Still looks like it's gonna rain a lot more, so we shall see. It rained from 3 o'clock till right now 6. And now it's so calm. It was quite windy earlier, and now it's calmed down. What's Hunter doing? Wading in the water. What are you doing, buddy? What are you doing? Going for a swim? You're thirsty. Such a nice subtle sunset. It's very beautiful. Different, that's for sure. And then we come over here and look at the weather that's coming towards us. And it's all fogged up again with tons of cloud and Very low-lying cloud. Very kind of heavy looking. It's gonna rain again. It's been a busy rain day. Wow, what a crazy night. The wind was coming in from the east, from over there, and all day. And so I decided to put the tent down in a sheltered area from the eastward wind. And then I went to bed about 9:30, read my book for a bit, and then the wind just started going crazy from the west. And you know, I thought the clouds from the east would come in and start raining on me, but it didn't. So then the winds came in from the west, and they were going like 40-50 kilometers an hour. So I jumped out of the tent. It, literally in 5 minutes, it just whipped up, and then there goes the boat going fishing. Hunter likes to bark at him. And then I knew that the tarp would get totally ruined if I left it out. It was just so strong. So I ran out, tried to take down the tent in really windy conditions, and my tent was literally bending over sideways because the wind was coming face on. You know, usually I would face the tent towards the wind, meaning that it would hit one end if that was a situation, but I had no idea. So literally, you know, the tent was bent over sideways this way. It was the tent poles were bending kind of like you know, like this. All the pegs held though, and all that. Oh, funny. There's so much wind, it actually undid this in the night. So it was done up all the way to the bottom, and I woke up this morning and it's undone. And it's from the wind just whipping it, and it slowly undid it. Anyway, it was from 10 o'clock and until 3:30 it was still going, and then sometime between 3:30 and 6 o'clock it died down to what I got now, which is pretty much no wind at all. So anyway, crazy weather yesterday. Rain, no rain, beautiful paddle, rain again, and then wicked wind. Well, that's what it's like being out here, and part of the fun. So it's quite interesting being open to the weather. Normally we just walk into our house and say, don't even notice it's happening. But out here, you feel it. You feel it. Oh, hey, look at that. This is the first proper bear hang I've been able to do since I arrived. Perfect bear hang. Every other site was, you know, the limbs were really low, or there was no place where I could hang it properly. So this is a perfect branch between two large trees through my rock throw up right in the middle there. I have a little bag that I use. Put a medium-sized rock in it, and then tie it onto a rope, and then just toss it up.
and then it's weighted enough to bring the rope down, and I bring a sturdier rope for it rather than the lightweight stuff that we use for or carry for most of our stuff, clotheslines and tarp lines and stuff like that, just really lightweight rope. But I bring one heavier rope that's about 75 feet, maybe 100. I think it's closer to 75, so it's gives me quite a bit of distance. Well, here's how I make my breakfast every morning. Nice Quaker Harvest apples and cinnamon is my favorite. Instant oatmeal is the lightest weight product you can buy that is a good and tasty breakfast. And I do bring bannock as well, and what I do is I have a dehydrator, so I just dehydrate 5 or 6 medium-sized apples and break them up into little small chunks, and it changes, you know, something that can be kind of blah to something that can be really tasty. And that lasts me for the whole week and a half. Apples, dehydrated apples, a couple of pepperoni sticks, and some gorp that I make. Just peanuts and golden raisins, and a little bit of chocolate chunks, semi-sweet, and then let it sit there for 5 or 6 minutes, and then it's ready. And Hunter's breakfast. Is that good? You like that? Didn't quite finish. Maybe you'll finish later. I'll leave it there for you. I don't bring a bowl for him. He just gets the lid. And I'm super happy to see that my platypus gravity feed is working really well this year. Earlier in the year, I went for a Portage trip with my brother and my son and my dad to the Massasauga, and so I was talking about the filter and how I wasn't so perfectly happy with it. And you know, you buy a new one and then it lasts for 4 or 5 trips and then it starts declining in speed. So he suggested that I, what he called, super backwash it. I was like, what's that? Because I backwash it pretty good, right? I mean, daily I do, this is a 4 liter. Daily I do about 2 liters of backwashing. And so basically he said, no, take it home, do it, 10 times with city water. And and so and then in a few of them put 1 to 100th strength chlorine through it. So just like a little half a cap full of chlorine, Javex or whatever you have, into the bag, and backflow it with it, backwash it. And it's been really speeding along. I mean, I filled up that bag only maybe half an hour ago. So for 4 liters in 40 minutes, that's really good, and I'm extremely happy with that. You know, it's not instantaneous, but it's but 4 liters in 40 minutes. It's a very good rate to me, so I'm very happy with that. Just drying everything out, and getting her all done up. Takes me about an hour to pack up and get everything put away nicely, and then an hour to set it back up. So not too bad. Can't complain about that. What I meant about the bear hang was that really a bear hang is supposed to be 6 feet away from any tree. And so all of my other sites, I was hanging it up within, you know, 2-3 feet of a tree. And any bear can reach that. You know, they can climb up the tree and just knock it down. So in this case, 6 feet, there's no way a bear's getting it, but every other site has been pretty close to a tree. Even though I still hang it up high, I mean, who cares, right? A bear can climb up any tree very successfully. I've watched it on videos. So, all right, I'll start getting packed up. Well, we stopped on a tiny island to have a snack, have a lunch. And there's a little campfire here, but it's a very, very tiny island. They marked it as a campsite. But yeah, so we're just snacking away on our gorp and apricots. I guess he doesn't like those apricots. I gave him some. I gave him a mango, dried apricots. And then I'll give him some of that pepperoni. But I guess he doesn't like it too much. Is my jacket getting wet? Let's take it out of the water. So this is my normal setup. Have the barrel in the back because it won't fit in the front. It's a 60-liter barrel, so it only fits in the back. And then mostly my clothes and other equipment's in there. Been fishing on the big lake, trying to troll as low as I can. Okay, let's go see if we want to stay at this campsite. Let's go check it out. Certainly has the rockiness that I like so much. Most of the campsites are there. One place for a tent there. Pretty good campfire. Yep, so just a little small, some garbage, I guess, and a funny looking table. Well, I guess it's about time to make a fire. Let's start getting dinner ready. I think we'll have spaghetti tonight. Homemade, dehydrated spaghetti. Some birch bark. Lots of these open. They had already left me lots of wood, but it was all big wood, so I just went and got mostly small stuff and whatever else I found. Lighter. Yeah, I use a lighter. Too convenient for me. I'm a practical guy. So I built my built the firestones first to fit my grill, because I think I'm going to use a grill today because I gotta boil pasta, and then, well, actually I need to start rehydrating my spaghetti sauce, which I just make with store-bought spaghetti sauce and a whole bunch of onions, peppers, and mushrooms is how I make it, and spices. And I don't know, that's my favorite way to make it. Today was a pretty easy day because it was no rain, no severe winds, no real issues. So I just took my time, made a lazy day, fished along the way the whole time, didn't catch anything. So I need your help. So if you know Temagami and the surrounding area, well, give me some advice. I've only been to Temagami 3 times. 25 years ago, I came for about a 5-day trip, and I entered through Temagami Lake Road, which means we went to the main marina, and then we paddled up the North Arm, and we saw a lot of motorboats, a lot of houseboats camping outside our, docking, putting anchor in directly outside our campsite. And we saw motorboats every day, all day long, a lot of planes. And then last year, my son and I wanted to go somewhere else other than Algonquin, which is where we normally go. Been going to Algonquin for about 30 years now. And so we came in through some conservation land there off Red Squirrel Road, and we had 3 days of crown land, which was very challenging and not well used, so it was very isolated. But after we got onto Lady Evelyn on the southeast corner, southeast side, we saw a lot of planes
and even a helicopter landing at a cottage. A lot of boats every day. And then we went to the trout streams, which means that, you know, there was no cottages and things like that everywhere else on Temagami Lake. And in Lady Evelyn, there's a lot of cottages and boat traffic. So I'm getting a plane, I don't know, every hour. I'm getting a boat every 15 minutes in the day. This morning's campsite on the far west corner, very close to Sucker Gut. I had 8 boats go by my camp within the space of about half an hour. They were just going fishing, so it's all good. We all share the land and whatnot. But I'm looking for something a little more isolated, a little more out of the way from cottages and whatnot. In Algonquin, once I'm in a day, past a day, like I leave on the first day, you know, I don't really see that many people. I don't see any boats at all. I've been through Algonquin east side and the south corridor a lot. I know Canoe Lake and along the south corridor is a busy place. So I get it that it's not what some people want, especially if they're only going in for 3 days or 4 days. But if you go anywhere along the east side of Algonquin, in some of the more, in some of the access points up the west side, you really don't see much as far as that kind of stuff goes. So, and then, you know, traditionally I go for 10 days, 14 days, 7 days is kind of my minimum. So my first experience 25 years ago in Temagami convinced me to not come back, you know, because I don't want to see houseboats every day. Even this trip, you know, a houseboat pulled up to me on the North Arm. I was just about to enter Diamond, so I was in the farthest west North Arm. So a houseboat pulled up to me and said, "Oh, you know, how you doing? And do you want that campsite there? Because we were going to use it. You know, if you're not going to." And you know, I've changed my expectations a little bit, so I'm okay with it. It's just not quite what I'm expecting. Temagami's a beautiful place. It is very rocky and very rugged. I really like it. You know, it's about 2 hours longer drive for me to go from Toronto than most places in Algonquin. So it's a little more convenient to go to Algonquin, but I don't go through the main access points anymore along Highway 60. I always choose the outer edges of it, North T and, you know, Rain Lake and Misty and stuff like that, right? So leave me comments below if you have any advice on entry points that allow you to get to a place that's a little more out of the way and not so occupied by cottages and boaters. And so anyway, if you have any suggestions, let me know. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Wow, look at that. Very nice. Getting closer to sunset. It's turning out to be a quiet one, but it's still nice to see nonetheless. Don't think it'll get more than that, just because there's no clouds. Wow, we started the day full of clouds. That's all I saw. And then by midday there was 75% clouds. And then by 3 p.m., 25% clouds maybe. And then clear sky. Hopefully this is a good sign for tomorrow. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna sit by the fire, read for a few minutes till it gets dark, and then watch the fire for a bit and go to bed. It's a good day. Good morning. The mist is just, I don't know whether it's dissipating. It is staying around for a little bit and blowing in a little bit too. Oh, 7:30. Is that a rainbow? Nah. Just an opening in the fog. So I'm at the Portage for the Lady Evelyn Falls, and just carried everything across. It's a very short portage around some very impressive falls. There's about a 1 foot drop. Not much of a falls, but it is beautiful terrain. On my way in, I passed through here as well, and this is where I caught that 15-inch bass that Hunter went a little bit crazy on. So we had to keep him and cook him up. But anyway, I had my break, had a nice little snack, lunch, and then we're off again. Phew! Made it. That was a hard slog across Diamond. Hard paddling and against the wind, but I made it, so that's great. And actually, just total surprise, this was one of the favorite campsites that Nathan and I stayed at last time. I thought that campsite was on a different lake. I didn't even recall exactly where it was. But oh, okay, now I need a rest. I ran into a couple of fishermen, and they said the winds are going to be double that of today, tomorrow. So about 30 or so. Today is only 15, I think, I'm guessing. But when you've got a whole lake for the waves to accrue, and the wind to pick up on the lake, and this lake is shaped like a Y. and I was at the very bottom of the Y at the north end, and the wind's coming from the southwest, I guess. So yeah, this site has morning sun from the east over here, that over there being the south, and then going down here, this being north. So really we won't be able to see the sun set because it's right, or at least not perfect sunset, but it's in that direction right there. So we'll get all that. Well, I think I'll make some Alpine Air spicy sausage pasta tonight. 620 calories. Last night I made my homemade spaghetti, and the night before I had a prepackaged meal like this. I think it was from Alpine Air as well. Pad Thai. And then I have some Harvest Works for other days. And then I also brought some brownies, so I'm gonna make some brownies tonight. So my knee's feeling a lot better. 3 days of rest, basically just paddling. My arms are paying the price though. So it's a little harder on the arms when all you're doing is paddling all day and no portaging, but definitely needed to rest the knee. So I've had that injury for so many years from playing too much volleyball and too much baseball and stuff, and it acts up once in a while. So you know, I didn't even feel it twinge when it happened, but basically what happened was I was on a larger lake, and I said, okay, I'll in the morning I said, well, I'll find a campsite on the larger lake, and all of them were taken. So then I kept going, and in the morning. So what I did was I didn't put on any knee braces, which I normally would for portaging. And then I said, oh, it's just, you know, I kept going, and I just had a small 400 portage. So how could that hurt my knees? Anyway, it did. So whatever. It's life. It changed the strategy or my goal for this portage trip, but hey, that's life. And I learned last year that if you don't just instantly change your mind and just, you know, do something different and be happy with it, then you regret it because you're thinking too much and you're not happy. So I changed it and I was happy. So anyway, I got the tent set up. Oh, I went for a skinny dip. Nobody around here. Didn't want to have to dry my bathing suit because it takes a couple days to dry stuff out here. Like, you know, my underwear gets wet or whatever, and you know, 3 days later it's still not dry, and I've got it hung up on the clothesline as much as I'm at camp, even though it's not raining. Anyway, takes too long to dry stuff, but whatever. That reminds me, I should hang up my wet clothes on the 'cause yesterday I went for a swim and I wore my bathing suit, and I also wore my t-shirt just to wash it out and do some laundry. So I did some laundry, and then hung it up, but it's still not dry, so I should do that. Anyway, love this site, and Hunter's as happy as could be. He's basically every few minutes he gets up and runs off in a big hurry to chase a squirrel, chipmunk, squirrel, whatever, and he just spends so much time doing that. I think last night he spent almost half an hour after it got dark, half an hour just chasing a mouse, just, you know, sniffing, running, and then, you know, mice are too smart. He gets its scent, and then we named him aptly, right? We had no idea when we named him, but Hunter is what he is. He's just hunts. That's all he does. He occupies pretty much all of his time doing that, especially when he's out here, but even at home in the backyard or whatever, that's his main pastime. He does not like to play fetch, but he loves to hunt. So, whereas my other dog that looks very similar to him, his name's Harley, and they're both pretty much the same age. They're a year off, and we got him from we bought Hunter from a kennel, a breeder, and but Harley, we just thought that it might be nice if he had company, because he is a high energy dog. He's a Jack Russell, so we tried to adopt. We couldn't. You know, they were just too difficult to, quite frankly, too difficult to deal with. They, you know, we described our family: a relatively large house, you know, a relatively good-sized backyard, front yard, 2 kids that were 10 years old, and we had another dog that was the same breed, basically, or no, we were looking for any breed, actually, and they just gave us a runaround for 2 months, I think. Different breeder, different rescue places, and you know, we just figured it would never happen. So in Kijiji, we found a guy who had a Jack Russell that wanted to give it away because it was just too challenging for him. He was 2.5, and so it's perfect. So I have to put some more wood on this fire. Okay, so the instructions said add 1.5 cups. So I added some water. I don't have a measuring cup. So I have my drinking bottle that I used to use, and I when I come with more than one, with 2 people, then obviously I bring 2 of these, one for that person and one for me, to drink during the day. So usually one's empty, and then I can measure the right amount, but I'll add some more if need be. We'll see. So actually, I'm pretty happy. After a week of trying it out, I made this dangler sheath, and so I thought I'd try it for a week and see whether or not how it works. You know, I was worried about, is it going to stay in the sheath, not fall out, and it has not moved at all, so it's perfect. And then secondly, were these snaps ever gonna come undone, which obviously I can just sew them together. It's a little bit more convenient to have a snap, so I don't have to undo the belt and put it on every time and all that.
So, but it fits, you know, the dangler concept is basically perfect for backpackers because you never have to take, your backpack belt is sitting up here and it doesn't feel uncomfortable at all with this hanging here. And when you're sitting in a chair, it just simply moves to the side. It's not sitting underneath you, right? And when you're canoeing, it just falls beside you again. So anyway, it's a very good design that someone came up with and I just happened to copy. So works perfect. Getting pretty smoked out here. That's all right. Waiting for the wood to start going. Probably a little bit damp. Oh, there we go, the wind changed. Perfect. All right, well, get Hunter fed and me fed, and then we'll go fishing or something. And my son, last trip at this campsite, caught 2 or 3 fish right off the rocks. So I think I'll just fish right off the rocks once it gets a tiny bit later. So, thought I'd show you this cool little thing from Amazon. $12, $10. It's a fire blower stick, telescopic. You know, it's I don't know. Yeah, 16 inches long. And it starts fires so nicely. So or rather I should say restarts fires that are struggling. I want to get my my brownies on, so I want this wood to start going and make a nice coal bed. So it's really handy to have. It doesn't weigh anything. It's like 12 grams or something. But it does the trick, that's for sure. Okay, so what I do for brownies is get your Duncan Hines or whatever powdered package. I divide it into 2 or 3 depending on how much you want. Mix it up with water. You know, the package says to add milk and eggs and stuff like that, which obviously I don't have. I generally make the grill a little higher away from the wood, because otherwise if you put something on, the flame starts and it just burns. So in this case, a little bit higher means that it'll it won't be getting burnt, which is a good thing. And the grill is completely uneven.
Okay, and then I put a lid on it to keep the heat in. And a little moisture will escape out of the lid. So I might not put the lid on absolutely perfectly. And then leave it there for an hour. Cook it for 30 minutes at 350 degrees. And I might pop on a few more pieces just to keep it going, of course. But the key is a slow cook. I've certainly burned a couple of them when I was in a rush. And basically it was garbage. Okay, so I left the brownie on coals kind of like this the whole time. I added a few small pieces as it went, but okay, here's the test of truth. Haha. Look at that. Perfect. Bottom's not burnt at all. Mmm. Quite a snack. What, you want some? There you go. Well, there's our pretty nice sunset. She's going down. 7:20. Very peaceful. Good morning. Day 8 is here. I'm gonna look at the map. I was thinking of taking a day off today. Man, it is a beauty. Oh, I'm just gonna sit here for an hour. Soak it all in. While I make my bannock. There he goes. He just landed 15 minutes ago. And now he's dropped something off. And now he's taking off. Must be pretty cool to land on water. Okay, so I've got my coal bed going pretty good there for my bannock. And I mixed up my bannock. Really simple recipe that I just got from the internet. And I make it relatively flat so that, you know, it doesn't have a lot of inner warmth or a lot of kind of ovening concept to cook it through. And you always want a little bit of extra, so I pack 1 cup at a time, and that's 1 cup of flour and the other ingredients, salt and some sugar to make it a little tiny bit sweet, and I put a little bit of oil in the bottom just so it doesn't stick too much. And then you always want well, I always want, because no matter what, I add too much water, so I pack an extra cup of bannock so that I can add it after and even out the probably at the back would be best to get the reflection off the rock, the heat reflection. Again, put the lid on. I put the lid on a little bit sideways, let some moisture out. So if you're interested, I pack two bags for food. One, the green one is for breakfast and lunch, and the blue one is for anything in the evening. So I've got some pre-packaged dinners. I dehydrated my own spaghetti sauce there, as you can see, and I brought the the noodles. This time this is the noodles that I had, so that's what I brought. And there's some peanut butter in that bag too. And then I brought 3 of the so I took the Devil's the chocolate cake brownie recipe and or package and divided it into 3. And I've got some spices and salt in those 2 little containers. Just some oregano and Italian spices and garlic. And then there's then I have a little oil container. I've never brought oil, but I think I will from now on. It helps with the thing. Some ramen. Ramen always is a very quick and satisfying meal after a hard day. And here's some kibble dog food. And then for my morning and lunch, I make gorp, which is just peanuts and raisins, golden raisins. I prefer golden raisins. And little chocolate chips. That's it. But it's a very tasty treat along the way for lunch. And then I have some Gatorade mix and some iced tea mix. Lipton iced tea mix is good. And I bring one of those pepperettes. So I take 2 for each lunch. And then I have some mangoes, apricots, and dehydrated apples that I made myself. It's better to keep the dehydrated apples separate, so I learned that this time. Because the moisture from the mangoes is making the apples moist, which is not what I want. And then 1 package of Quaker Harvest oatmeal for every morning. And I switched to, rather than, the standard instant coffee, I switched to these a few years ago, Nescafe instant packs for coffee. And then here's my fish crisp and bannock bag. This is the first time I brought fish crisp, or I just made it from home, but I could have bought it, of course. I just didn't get a chance to go out and get it, so the night before I just quickly whipped it up. So that's kind of what fits in my bags for food. And I know it's pretty simple fare compared to what some people do, but if I'm going for a longer trip, I'm not bringing any fresh vegetables and apples and all that stuff. It just weighs way too much. So why don't we check out our bannock? One side is completely done, so I just flipped it, and it's a fair bit of bread actually. So it's getting there. It's getting there. And I just have it on like the extreme lowest heat that I could do. With an elevated, this is not my grill, it's just a grill sitting around camp. But it's fairly elevated, so it's doing a good job, taking its time. I think that's what it's all about, just patience, right? Okay, we're here for the the bannock test. It's a little soft and it's a little soft, so not rock hard, which is what we want. Very good. Just a hint of sweetness, which was my target. Think I'll get my peanut butter and have some breakfast. Don't even need peanut butter. Nothing burned on the pan. It's great. Well, I was saying this was a big cliff, and I don't know how many meters it is, but I put my barrel up there just so you have a point of reference. So it's a pretty impressive little cliff there that I get to sit at the top of and enjoy the view. This blowdown just happened. Look how fresh those needles are. They're still brand new. So this must have happened during the windstorm when I was on Tuesday night, when I was saying that the wind kicked up so severely. On during the night from 10 o'clock till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And look at this tree just totally uprooted. Whoa. Humongous. Just snapped right off. The whole swath just demolished. And this one, that's incredible. Oh, you know what? This big, huge root, it looks like an older fall down. But this one here that's laying on top of it is brand new. But this, wow, this is a huge tree. Just snapped right at the 15 feet point. Yeah, everything's brand new. Just happened. I'm glad I wasn't here when it did. Wow, that would have been scary. Holy. Would have been so scary. Just trees coming down all around you. Wow. Time for a nice swim. Woo! Come on in. Let's go, buddy. Come on, come here. Woo! Coming in?
Yeah.
Here's Hunter on the prowl. Ran into a squirrel. Where'd he go? Find him. Find him. Come on. Find him. Where'd he go? Following the scent. Where'd he go? There he is. Yeah. That one. That'll keep him busy for another half an hour. So I decided to have spaghetti today. So I reconstituted my sauce. And I'll get the fire going now. So, because I have to cook the pasta, so I figured I'd do it on a day that I have a little more time. And then tomorrow I'll pick a one and done recipe. I think next time actually I'll just dehydrate the pasta as well, which I normally have done in the past. I just didn't this time. Oh, it's about 8:30. Darkness just came in fully half an hour ago or 45 minutes ago. And then I looked for the sunset and it's just extremely dark clouds out there. So looks like I'm in for a nice hard rain. Hopefully it's done by the morning. Nothing like packing up in the rain, that's for sure. Good morning, day 9. Well, it certainly turned out to be a beautiful morning. That sun shining. That huge black mass of cloud came in last night at 8:30. And I don't think it dumped a lot of rain on us, just certainly some, but for a number of hours. But then I fell asleep and didn't hear anything again, so. Anyway, better get a fire started. 7:30. So unfortunately I didn't really get to have a campfire last night. I cut up all that wood. And now that's just going to be for the next guy. That's okay. What's going on with this birch bark? Ah, see? Pushed it down too hard. Lay it on gently. Luckily the wind hasn't started picking up yet. What a peaceful day on a beautiful cloudless day here. Going out on his little perch there. Aren't you, Hunter? Hunter. Hunter. Hey, buddy. What you looking at? Well, day 9 campsite. Certainly looks like a cool campsite. I'm pretty close to my exit, and all the other campsites were taken, so this was the one that I was left with. This is extremely shallow here. Just a big rock face. And then on this side, it's a drop off of, you know, not too much, but straight into the water down probably well, right there it's 20 feet, I guess, into the water. So I'm gonna have to improvise a bit on this one because I've searched for a place to put my tent in this area off the rock shelf, but there's not 1 square inch of flat ground without rocks poking at you. So so I guess I'm gonna just have to I'll just put it up on the rock face, I guess. Pretty exposed, but hey, that's it certainly is a nice day. Beautiful. Right over there is what they call McPherson Mountain. So there's hiking trails all the way at the top. I guess there's a road back there somewhere, and it has a number of kilometers of different hiking routes across it. Come on, let's go. There we go. All done. Just staked down with rocks. And it's just a little bit on a slant. Well, I guess I'll put my head on the left and my feet on the right, so it's more comfortable. Well, the moon is almost full. Not quite, but getting there. Almost. Maybe another day or two. It's looking very beautiful there. Sun is going down on the other side. Someone couldn't be too much happier. Snoozing in front of the fire. Snooze, snooze. Sitting on my lap, as per normal. Fire comes on at night. He wants to sit on my lap and fall sound asleep in front of the fire. So, sleeping on a rock shelf that's sloping down where you have a slippery mattress pad on and slippery sleeping bags. Here's where I started out. Up there. And then I swear I haven't touched anything. And this is how I ended up. Hunter, get out of there. So I don't even think I was on the pad at all when I woke up. I think maybe my shoulder was. Definitely not my hips or my... Oh, sleeping on rock. There you go. Anyway, whatever. I woke up at least a dozen times last night trying to straighten things out. And it didn't work. All right, we'll get ready to go.